Hello there, and welcome back to Non Name Talks.
It's great to be here. Okay, so let's unpack this. Today we're doing a deep dive all about emotional healing.
Right. And we've gathered insights from, quite a range of sources. We're talking nursing theory, psychology.
And so it's broader holistic health ideas too. Yeah. The goal here really is to figure out what emotional healing actually means.
And why it feels so important right now in this kind of overwhelming world we're in.
Exactly. And also how you might, actually use some of these ideas. It's definitely more than just feeling a bit better, isn't it?
Oh, much more. It's about integrating everything mind, body, spirit to find like a genuine sense of well-being.
So looking across these different fields, what's the sort of core definition they're landing on?
Well, what's fascinating is how they all seem to point towards healing as something fundamental, not just a quick fix. It's described as a holistic process.
Holistic meaning, the whole person.
Exactly. Seeing the human being as a complete system, mind, body, and spirit, all working together, not just separate parts.
Okay. And some of the sources get into pretty deep concepts to explain that link, right? Like cellular memory.
Yeah, that idea that our past emotions, our experiences, they might not just be memories in our brain, but could actually leave some kind of imprint, maybe even physically.
And things like chakras, too. I saw that mentioned.
Right, which in some of these holistic views are seen as kind of processors for emotional and spiritual energy. It really highlights how connected our emotional state is to our physical selves.
Which feels really relevant today, doesn't it?
Absolutely, because as some sources point out, the typical medical model focusing just on tissues, specific symptoms,
It doesn't always work for the deeper emotional stuff.
sometimes it falls short, yeah, especially for complex emotional or mental health challenges. So this holistic view becomes pretty essential.
For dealing with stress, loss, all that life throws at us.
Exactly, for navigating challenges, really processing loss instead of just, burying it. And even for finding your purpose and breaking those old patterns that hold you back.
Okay, so that covers the what and the why. But the big question, I guess, is how? How do you actually put this into practice?
Well, one really powerful idea that comes through is about accessing your self-care knowledge.
Self-care knowledge, meaning.
It's like an innate wisdom, knowing maybe deep down what actually interferes with your well-being and what genuinely helps you heal, tuning into that.
Right, like an inner compass.
Kind of, yeah. And huge part of putting it into practice seems to be about connection.
Connection with others.
Yeah, but in a really authentic way. Heart to heart, spirit to spirit, as some sources put it.
And how do you cultivate that? The sources mention things like presence.
Presence, just being truly there, really listening, intentionality, having that genuine desire to connect or help, and unconditional acceptance.
Accepting people as they are, no judgment. That sounds challenging but crucial.
It really is. And related to that is the idea of helping people tell their story, or even just making space for your own story.
How does that help?
Well, the idea is that through sharing, through being heard, you start to uncover your needs, maybe see the barriers to your own healing more clearly. Vulnerability leads to clarity sometimes.
That makes sense. And there was another interesting concept about being a conduit.
Oh, yeah, that's a fascinating one. Instead of feeling like you're giving away your own limited energy when helping someone, which can be draining.
Right, burnout is real.
Exactly. You think of yourself more as a channel, a conduit for a larger healing energy, maybe universal, maybe spiritual, depending on your view. It shifts the focus from personal depletion to flow.
That's a powerful reframe.
Yeah.
From burden to flow. And sometimes it starts smaller, right? Like journaling.
Definitely. Simple practices like journaling can be a great way in. Just taking time to look within, get thoughts down, maybe start noticing patterns in your feelings or reactions. It accesses that self-knowing we talked about.
So these are just abstract theories. There are practical steps.
Yeah.
Okay, now, the potential payoff. Where does this path lead?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The pros, the potential benefits, they're profound.
Like what?
Things like deep personal growth, moving towards self-actualization, really becoming who you are. It's seen as crucial for resolving deep loss, like moving past intense grief.
Building resilience too, I imagine.
Huge resilience, yes.
Yeah.
Strengthening relationships and fostering this real sense of hope, wisdom, and purpose in life.
Wow. And one thing that really jumped out was the idea that healing can start
Yeah.
sometimes just from a single moment.
Yeah, a single interaction. If that genuine connection happens, that moment of understanding, it can be the spark.
Okay. But it's not all sunshine and roses, is it? There have to be downsides or difficult
Oh, absolutely. Let's be realistic. The cons, if you will, are significant. This process can be hard, really hard, and often painful.
because you have to face things you'd rather avoid.
Exactly. Confronting unresolved stuff from the past, looking honestly at difficult emotions, challenging those coping mechanisms you've relied on, even if they're not healthy anymore.
So it takes real effort. It's not passive.
Not at all. It demands effort, commitment, and it often requires resources, both your inner strength, that self-knowing, but also external support.
Friends, family, maybe professional help.
Precisely. It's an active journey, a
Yeah.
real commitment.
Right. So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway here?
Well, looking at emotional healing through this holistic lens, mind, body, spirit, all integrated, it's really presented as this deep personal journey.
Rooted in knowing yourself,
Mm.
connecting authentically, and finding meaning.
Exactly. Bringing all the parts of yourself together. It's an ongoing process, not a destination.
Okay, so that leaves us, and you listening, with something to think about, doesn't it? If profound healing, if real growth can genuinely spark from just a single interaction or maybe one moment of honest self-understanding,
Mm-hmm.
what potential for that kind of connection, that kind of growth, might be just waiting for you to discover,
Right now.
either inside yourself or maybe in the next conversation you have, something to consider.